Whoopi Goldberg has sparked somewhat of a controversy recently for making some outrageous claims and going full anti-racist, which of course is code for full anti-Semitic at this point. But before we get into the main story, I think it's worthwhile to talk about what kicked this whole series of events off. So we've got this New York Post here article talking about the fact that the graphic novel Mouse has been pulled out of Tennessee schools in a particular school district because of violence and profanity. I assume, are you aware of Mouse?
No, not really.
You may have heard of it.
I've heard of it before.
For anybody unaware, Mouse was written by this man, if you want to scroll down a bit, John, Art Spiegelman. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Excuse me. Whose father was in Europe during the Holocaust, and he based it on his father's stories, except to sort of give it a bit more of a allegorical feel, he changed all of the characters so that they were represented by mice and cats and other such things. So, you know, typical sort of thing that you would do to try and translate it into a visual medium like a comic book. And it's got some controversy around it all of a sudden after this. So a Tennessee school district has banned a Pulitzer Prize-winning graphic novel about the Holocaust over its violence, nudity, and swearing. The McMinn County School Board voted unanimously to remove Art Spiegelman's book, Mouse, from classrooms on January 10th, according to meeting minutes. The book, completed in 1991, tells the story of the author's father and his experiences as a Holocaust survivor in comic book form. The school board cited its graphic scenes and profanity as among its objections to the reading. I'm not denying it was a horrible, brutal, and cruel act, said the school board member Tony Ullman of the Nazi genocide that killed 6 million Jews. He argued that the book should be censored to make it more palatable. It's like when you're watching TV and a cuss word or nude scene comes on, it'll be the same movie without it, he said. It shows people hanging, it shows them killing kids. Why does the educational system promote this kind of stuff? It's not wise or healthy. Board member Mike Cochran agreed. This idea that we have to do this kind of material in the class in order to teach history, I don't buy it, he said.
That's ridiculous.
So, yeah, I think it is ridiculous as well. I think
the Holocaust would just be the same if we never showed any of the evil.
Yeah, this is a bit of a ridiculous overcorrection to the events, the sorts of events that led to Youngkin being voted in Virginia, which is obviously there were lots of negative, what I would call inappropriate books in schools being shown, such as the Genderqueer, where, you know, it was like showing explicit sexual acts between lesbians. But the context here is very different.
It's the difference between ideology and historical reality.
Yes.
I know it's a comic book, but still, if you want to find examples of Nazis killing kids or all the rest of it, you can, because it's endless.
It has been also quite prevalent in American education for years at this point. I think it's always been part of certain curriculums ever since it was finished. So it's weird that
the Holocaust.
No, Mouse as well.
Oh, Mouse, okay.
Yeah, so it's weird that they would choose to take it out. Now, like I said, I think it's a bit of an overcorrection, especially seeing as looking into it further. I think it's 8th graders who are reading this, so like between the ages of 12 and 14, as far as I can tell. And I would say, obviously, if you're showing that sort of stuff to maybe like pre-teens under the age of 10, yeah, maybe there's an argument to be made. But I'd say 12 to 14-year-olds are probably mature enough to be able to deal with that sort of stuff.
I don't know, but if I was the public school, I'd probably defer to, like, you know, the rating agency that does films and whatever.
Well, I mean, you can get away with a lot of stuff in like 15-rated films and stuff like that nowadays over in the UK. So I'd say the 14 to 15. But yeah, obviously, like you say, there's a difference between the ideology and trying to convey historical fact. Although that you could make concessions to the fact that, well, there are ways to teach about this if you were to, say, read The Boy with the Striped Pajamas instead or something like what I did in high school. Don't know about you.
We just watched the movie.
Oh, yeah, we also watched the film. We read the book and we watched the film. But yeah, it's not something I entirely agree with, but it has had something of a Streisand effect, because if we move along, it's actually started to get better sales as a result of this. So here, Holocaust book Mouse sales soar after school board ban. Mouse has skyrocketed to the top of an Amazon bestsellers list. Art Spiegelman's 30-year-old Pulitzer Prize-winning series was not even in Amazon's top 1,000 at the beginning of last week when news broke of McMinn County's ban over what was deemed unnecessary in it. But by Monday, the complete collection was at the top of the online giant's bestsellers in literary graphic novels, with the first and second books individually rounding up the top 3. So it's split into the complete collection, then 1 and 2, collecting the other 2 parts of the series, not all together. So it's Streisand effect. It's acted as free publicity for the book. I still wouldn't say it's not like they've actually banned it. They've just pulled it from the curriculum. But it's caused a lot of people to go out and read it. I mean, these kids are still able to go outside of school, pick it up and read it if they want to. But this is all the preamble to what led to the discussion about it on The View. Why...
I still gotta go over how they literally use the V for their symbol. Sorry,
Oh yeah, they do.
Point, but it's the symbol from 1984 of the party. It was just like, okay, whatever. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're ready for a clip of some quite astounding intellectual prowess to be observed, so John, let's play this clip.
Well, also, if you're going to do this, then let's be truthful about it, because the Holocaust isn't about race. No, it's not about race.
No, it's about
a different race. But
all of them
it's not about race. It's not about race.
What is it about?
Because it's about man's inhumanity to man. That's what it's about.
But it's about white supremacy. It's about
but
going
it's
after
not about. But these are two white groups of people.
Well, that was after black
They
people
didn't see them as white.
But you're missing the point.
White
You're missing the
violence.
point. The minute you turn it into race, it goes down this alley. Let's talk about it for what it is. It's how people treat each other. It's a problem. It doesn't matter if you're black or white, because black, white, Jews, everybody eats each other. So is it, if you're uncomfortable, if you hear about mouse, should you be worried? Should your child say, oh my God, I wonder if that's me? No, that's not what they're going to say. They're going to say, I don't want to be like that.
Well, hopefully.
I want to be cool.
Yeah.
And
Most kids, they don't want to be cruel.
No, they don't.
And we're living in an era where people are comparing vaccine cards to the yellow stars, where people are comparing vaccinations to what Anne Frank went through.
Yeah.
So it is necessary for kids to learn
Why
about
haven't they
it.
stopped yet?
And
To
by the
learn
way,
about man's inhumanity to man, however it exposes itself. I have to cut you off.
I just want to say that mouse was banned and it flew to top 20 of Amazon's rules last week of charts.
Yes.
People, the more you ban
We'll
it,
be
the
right
more
back.
we want to read it.
Two retards fighting.
Kept going, I know. Not exactly a table...
Wasn't it about white supremacy? Oh, fucking jeez.
Not exactly a table of Einsteins there.
No.
But even amongst them, Whoopi Goldberg giving a pretty poor showing, wouldn't you say? And I would say that this is because Whoopi Goldberg...
God, I mean, hang on. At least she said something. She said a lot of wrong things, but she also at least said one thing that was true, which is there's inhumanity in the Holocaust. Sure.
I mean, duh.
But
okay.
The opposition there, lady, is just like, yeah, but it was about white supremacy. What? What world are you living where the Germans are white supremacists? No, they were German supremacists. It's kind of the point of the Ubermensch.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? These guys are all looking at it from an incredibly American view of what race is, which, I mean, Whoopi Goldberg has since addressed this and said that, as a black woman, I see race as something that I can see. It's like, not in the 1930s, not in the 1940s.
The Nazis would have their opinions on what they can see
yeah.
about different races.
Yes, but it's also not the only conception of race that was going around in the 30s and 40s. And before that, previously, race was more considered to, it's considered something that you're a heritage of. And they considered Jews to be an intruding race in Germany and needed to be got rid of because they were inferior, they were causing capitalism, which was destroying their society. But also some of the claims made there about, people are considering like vaccine cards as the same as what happened to the Jews in the Holocaust. And it's like, some schools are literally giving kids yellow stars now to demonstrate that they're mask exempt. So whether you want to say it's appropriate or not, the comparisons can be made. But I can't believe I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to break out the Hitler quotes. Just to prove, we all know this, but just in case Whoopi is watching, it's probably best that you learn this for the future. You're a 66-year-old woman.
It's never too late to learn.
Yeah, supposedly you didn't already know this, but here we go. So he says here, and we can proudly say that our German people, from the standpoint of race and blood, can be considered as among the best of its kind in existence. So right there, obviously...
The German race.
This is
how Hitler views things, through racial lines, and the racial lines are not just black and white, and that's the end of it, because we're not Americans. I don't know what else to say. No. It's just such a low-resolution way of viewing these things.
But yeah, just another one to cap it off. German culture, as its name alone shows, is German and not Jewish. Well, there you go. There's immediately the separation that he's pulling. He's not just going, I'm white, but I hate this particular white person. He's going, I'm German, and I hate this Jew.
Because he's a different race. The Jews are not Europeans, they are Semites, and therefore a different race, and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, but if we move along, Whoopi has addressed this in this apology. Today's show, I said the Holocaust is not about race, but man's inhumanity to man. I should have said it's about both. As Jonathan Greenblatt from the Anti-Defamation League shared, because we really need to care about their opinion, the Holocaust was about the Nazis' systematic annihilation of the Jewish people, who they deemed to be an inferior race. I mean, correct. I stand corrected. You didn't already know this.
There is no way you didn't know.
There is no way you didn't know this.
0% chance.
Yeah. Jewish people around the world have always had my support, and that will never waver. I'm sorry for the hurt I've caused, written with my sincerest apologies.
Also, both of you are idiots, apparently, because neither of you have listed it wasn't just Jews. It wasn't just Jews that Hitler considered inferior and need to be exterminated. I mean, what did he do with the Slavs once he found them? What did he do with the Gypsies?
That is all true. But yeah, so not particularly smart, but it seems like she has approached this from a purely CRT-influenced viewpoint that she's looking at it from. She's looking at it through the, I see white people.
I mean, could you disprove CRT's ability to look at reality and get anything meaningful other than this?
I know.
The Holocaust isn't about race. Because
It was just about man against man. Yeah. Man, such a hippie sounding.
There was no racial genocide in Rwanda. It was just man against man.
Yeah,
Footsies and tutus, don't know what you're talking about.
Just black on black, man. And if we move along again, we can see Whoopi Goldberg from November, just to really hammer home, she absolutely has absorbed all of the CRT talking points, because she had this discussion a few months ago on The View again, had a spirited debate with Michelle Tafoya about racial progress, where she said, during the discussions of Virginia's gubernatorial race between Glenn Youngkin and Terry McAuliffe, the issue of critical race theory came up as one of the major focuses in the race. As we all know, it lost the race for Terry McAuliffe, who literally said parents shouldn't have a say in their children's education. People weren't very happy with that. But Goldberg noted that critical race theory was college-level curriculum and wasn't currently taught to children anyhow, to which co-host Joy Behar chimed in and called it culture war BS. So complete NPC talking points. She's been confronted with the CRT stuff and immediately gone down the dialogue tree of pre-programmed responses. Well, it's not even taught in schools. It's just for university curriculums, guys. It's way too dumb, way too smart for little dumb kids to learn about. And we all know that's BS. Yes,
I like the idea that you could write a book on Hitlerism and then just be like, here's Hitlerism for kids. But don't worry, Hitlerism's too advanced for kids, so this book is fine. It's waste of time.
Yes, but you know, you live in the United States. You know that the colour of skin has been mattering to people for years, Goldberg told Tafoya. Can't we change it that it doesn't, Tafoya asked? Good question. We need white people to step up and do that. But I think they've been doing that since the Civil War. No, they haven't. Who fought the Civil War then?
It's just black people.
Whoopi.
Fighting Southern blacks.
That was it. The Confederates just sent their slaves off to fight for them. Is that really what was going on, Whoopi? Are you an idiot? Well, yes, you are an idiot. But if there wasn't a big enough proportion of white people in the US who found slavery awful, the war would never have been fought in the first place, you moron. Okay, and if we go along again, she had another bad take. This is from a while back, and to be fair, this is not a take that was exclusive to Whoopi, because there was an actual petition signed by hundreds of people in Hollywood to do the same thing. So Hollywood has rallied behind Roman Polanski, notorious rapist and pedo, after his arrest in Switzerland over the weekend, with the actor Whoopi Goldberg suggesting that whatever he was guilty of, it wasn't rape.
Those diet
because
rape?
there's a difference. There's rape, and then there's rape, you know? As a guest on the View chat show on US television, this must have been what confirmed for them that she needed to be a host. It's like, interesting point you've got there, Whoopi. I know it wasn't rape. It was something else, but I don't believe it was rape. He went to jail, and when they let him out, it was like, you know what? This guy's going to give me 100 years in jail. I'm not staying. So that's why he left, because I think he decided to skip out on American jail, basically, and move back to Europe, where he could take refuge in France. Later in the program, she added, "We're a different kind of society. We see things differently. Would I want my 14-year-old having sex with somebody? Not necessarily, no. Not necessarily, Whoopi. Even if the person they were having sex with was 30 years older than your 14-year-old daughter." And once again, this is something that loads of people in Hollywood signed the petition to get him out of prison when he was arrested by the Switzerland authorities.
Yep.
Because they all just look at it and go like, well, it's nothing I wouldn't do.
The rapists of a feather flock together or something?
Yes. But you'd think she would have learned a lesson after having a number of controversies saying dumb S like this, but she hasn't. And of course, there's the other thing, which is this is not the best timing to be making such claims after just the other week, the hostage incident at the Texas synagogue, committed by the British man, if we all remember. But yeah, anti-Semitism is kind of in a lot of people's minds right now.
I'm trying to remember. I swear, wasn't it like Sharon Osbourne or something defended Piers Morgan on The View and said he's not racist for pointing out that Meghan's full of crap? And then she lost her position there?
That would be a shockingly based take from Sharon Osbourne.
I might be wrong, but like she lost her position on The View, and yet like Whoopi Goldberg can just get away with all of this, and she's fine. Brown privilege, mate. Mm-hmm. Real something.
And I think to sum all this up, it's probably good to get the perspective from a particular commentary on our side, that being Ben Shapiro, who is Jewish and has a great knowledge of intersectionality and CRT because he was, of course, he did legal studies at university. I think he's trained as a lawyer, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yes. And he learned all about critical race theory there, so he has a good understanding of it. So he's got here, white people control societal institutions in order to forward the aspirations of white people. That's intersectionality. Anti-Semitism. Jews control the institutions in order to forward the aspiration of Jews. Intersectionality. Oh yeah, and Jews are white people. Pretty succinct and clear way of showing how one is very easy to slip into the other there.
Well, it's the exact same logic. It is word for word the exact same logic. It's just that the white man is now the enemy instead of the Jew.
I mean, this is literally why James Lindsay could take sections of Mein Kampf and just put it intersectional language.
Don't you know white men control all the media? The white men control all the institutions?
Oh my God.
It's the same thing. Mm-hmm. It's just repackaged.
And he also appeared on Fox News to talk about this. So I think he sums it up pretty well in here if you want to play the clip, John. Nope. Oh, here we go.
What was going on there, Ben?
Okay, so to understand what Whoopi Goldberg is doing, you have to understand the basic left-wing intersectional theory of life is that all of society is structures of power, that there are victimized groups and there are victimizing groups. And the problem is that in American society and the West more generally, Jews are disproportionately successful. According to the left, disproportionately successful groups are beneficiaries of the white supremacist system and are, in fact, either white or white adjacent. So Whoopi Goldberg actually said that during the Holocaust, it was two groups of white people who were fighting each other, meaning the Nazis and the Jews, which is an insane contention. But that, again, ties into this idea that Jews are white people, and therefore Jews aren't really the victims of the Holocaust. It's really all of humanity that was the victim of the Holocaust. Jews are just white people in general. And this is why you see from the left, when it comes to anti-Semitism, they are utterly unwilling on any level to condemn anti-Semitism unless it's an actual white supremacist who's doing it. If it's Black Hebrew Israelites who are attempting to murder Jews in New Jersey, or if it's Jews in Williamsburg who are being beaten up by black guys on the streets of New Jersey, or if it is the latest anti-Semitic attack in Texas, which was performed by a radical Muslim, all of that disappears from the news immediately. It is not a major anti-Semitic problem. It's only anti-Semitism if they can categorize it as a white-on-white attack, essentially. There's a deeper philosophy here, which is why Whoopi Goldberg was doing that. It's not just that she's stupid, although she is unbelievably stupid. This is not just insidious. It's not just insipid. It's insidious. I mean, it's insane on every level. Obviously, historically speaking, Hitler thought of Jews as a race. He made this obvious. He made this clear. The Nuremberg laws are based on the idea that Jews are a race. But none of that matters to Whoopi Goldberg. This ties into a broader, ugly theory.
Ben, my producers have made some phone calls, and we've booked you on The View tomorrow.
Pretty succinctly,
so pack your bag.
pretty succinctly summed up. I'd say he put it all out there. So there's not really much else to say on the subject matter other than...
Well, Ben raises an interesting point, though, which is that he's obviously putting out that you can see this with like Asian groups being described as white because they're white adjacent.
Oh, the guy who shot up the Asian, what was it, salon, who was seemed to be of Middle Eastern descent, but everyone was saying, well, he's politically white.
Or you could take the example of the Asians being discriminated against at universities because they're basically part of the white group.
In Harvard.
If I recall correctly, I remember Hitler talking about like the British and whatnot as and the Americans essentially as being like Jewish controlled or essentially Jewish adjacent as well. So, I mean, I can see the comparisons he's making there.
Yeah.
I do wonder, what did Spielman have to say about all this? The mouse writer.
I think he was just confused as to why the schools took all of the stuff off of it, took it out of the curriculum. I don't think he's commented on all of this stuff since then.
Well, if anyone has Spielman Mummo, they could ask him, I guess.
But yeah, so that's about that. Just to sum up, don't listen to actors or anyone from Hollywood on anything important. They don't have the knowledge to back up their claims, nor do they have the wisdom to convey them effectively.
If you enjoyed that segment from the podcast, The Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the site, such as the Contemplation series, the one that went up over the weekend from Josh, being the culture and politics of Scotland. So if you want to find that, go and check that out. And also, if you want to follow Josh, you can follow him on Getter here at @Josh_firm. Thank you and goodbye.